Welcome back to another Big Bad Review. I am Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Rewatch podcast, here with another Lightning Collection review. This time I am looking at Zeo Gold from Power Rangers Zeo, obviously. This is the Tray of Triforia version, not to be confused with the version sold in the 2-pack with Mighty Morphin Red, and obviously another Zeo Gold, that time including, I think, 2, maybe 1 variations on the Jason head, rather than the Tray of Triforia head that is included in this one. Obviously not a huge concern to me. I don't display these guys with the unmorphed human heads on, at least currently I don't. But, super pumped that I got this guy. I am still trying my damnedest to track down an affordable Zeo Green and Zeo Blue. Those two, I know they came out pretty early in the line. They're just becoming incredibly difficult to find for like under $150. And I'm not committed to spending that much, even though after those two, I will probably not buy any more Legacy Collection figures until a handful of characters I really like come out. I've said since the beginning, the only team I will ever complete will be Zeo. There's not another team that I have a fondness of enough to care to get all of them. And I'm not enough of a completionist to need all of the Mighty Morphin just because I have Finster and a Mighty Morphin Pink. I think I'm going to be able to hold my ADHD off enough to only complete Zeo, and then maybe get, like, Jungle Fury, Wolf Ranger, and that's probably it, honestly. I don't really have too many other ones that I would care for. A Finster 5 from the Lord Draken comics, if they did that, would be kick-ass. But, anyway, this is Zeo Gold. We have not gotten to the point where Zeo has appeared yet, or where Zeo Gold has appeared yet in Stronger Than Before. On our rewatch, we are, I think, only on episode 12 or 11 or 12 now. Should be coming up on 11 by the time this goes out in recording, and then 12 should be coming along the way. But, again, fairly minimal on the Lightning Collection boxes. I know Zeo Gold's not super recent. It's been out for a little while. They also did the Legacy, or the Lightning Collection Zeo Gold Staff and the Gold Zeonizer, neither of which I have, and I probably won't pick those up. Not super into the Ranger Lightning Collection props just yet. Someday maybe, but not today. You can see in the box, pretty awesome detail on a lot of these guys. I'm not a huge fan of the head sculpt, but I have been not a huge fan of the head sculpts, so that is par for the course. I can already tell a little bit of a super duper minor thing that I'm going to nitpick is the difference in the color gold throughout the figure, but we'll get to that when we crack this guy open. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with it. Whee! And we're back. Alright, so this is Lightning Collection Zeo Gold. As always, I've been pretty happy with the mold and posability on these figures, and especially with the male body forms. I've just not had any problems. There's not any joints or anything that feel fragile or like they're going to snap in my hands. There is some like weird bits, but I'll get to that here in a minute. So just on first glance, he looks a little wonky to a degree, and I think that's just because the shield is not, like, built onto the body. It is loose, and it's actually a fairly soft rubber plastic material. But it is loose on the torso, so it's not molded in, which is fine, I guess. I think it could have done to be molded in on that super top part of the torso, but oh well. I think it works fine. The paint on this gold, because of the kind of material this is, actually like looks a little more like aged and worn, but I think it works on here. It almost looks like it's been weathered instead of like painted in detail. There are spots where it's like clearly they just didn't get enough black paint into these crevices. They probably could not have done that without being incredibly tedious with incredibly tiny brushes just because of the detail on here. I get that. It's not the end of the world, not a huge deal. Where the color where the color differences come in is really just on the cuffs. It is just a very light yellow instead of gold, and I think that was a problem with Legacy Zeo Gold, the Power Rangers Legacy figure line version of Zeo Gold had hard plastic for all of the gold, and it was all kind of a very mustardy yellow. Whereas I think the only place that we have that problem is on the cuffs on the boots and the cuffs on the arms. And honestly, it's not that bad. It's not very noticeable from a distance. You probably could get a gold Sharpie or Gundam marker and redo in gold on here, and it would probably match this fairly closely if you're careful. I don't think I'll do that, just because I don't think I'll be able to notice from my shelf. But some quick posability. We've got the usual head 360 and a little bit of up and a little bit of down, not a ton. You can see there, just enough for some poses. Doesn't have any side tilt on there, but none of them do. Elbows all the way up, basically 90, all the way down, and they do have that double kind of elbow shoulder jocket. Sorry, I said elbow, I meant shoulder socket. And then a 360 on the upper bicep, full 90 plus elbow back down, and then the hand 360 and a little bit forward and a little bit back, because it's got the little pegs on there for the swappy hands. As with the other ones, this guy comes with already in the package 2 gun holding hands. They are very clearly the gun holding hands, the way that he's got the trigger fingers there, even though the only thing that he holds is the Zeo Gold Zeo Gold staff. But that's okay. And then we've got the double hinge torso, so it's got the upper half that could technically probably rotate 360, but I'm not going to wing it because I don't want to pop any ball sockets out. And then back and forward crunch, pretty far forward. Back into place there. No waist joint on these guys, and then an almost full split on the hips. And then pretty much a 90 kick, and not really any back on these guys, although you could kind of like wing it a little bit by rotating. 360 rotate at the upper thigh, 90 plus on the knee curl, and then 360 on the top of the calf. The boot does have like a half circle down where the kneecap is, but that doesn't actually hinder the movement of it. Looks like it will, but it doesn't. Oh, and then the little ankle pivot here, as they have all had, and then a little bit back and a little bit forward. This one's actually really stiff on the ankles, but that's okay. Woo! Yeah, so that is posability for this guy. Boom. He actually stands better than quite a few of my other figures. Another thing that's ever so slightly not a problem, but is noticeable, but is also noticeable on basically all these figures, the plastic on the head, incredibly black, shiny, very shiny black paint with the gold highlights on the edges of the visor, whereas the body is a fairly flat, matte black color, not as shiny and reflective, which is, again, fairly, like, you could consider show accurate, because the helmets are always kind of an automotive paint, whereas the suits are obviously fabric. Now, accessory-wise, we'll start off with this tray of Triforia head. Obviously, one of the triplets. Boop. Pop that back on there. Oh, this one's tougher than the rest. Oh, I didn't get a satisfying pop. That was unsettling. Ooh, I don't like that. Ugh. All the rest have had a snap off and on. This one, not so much. I actually don't have a problem with this head sculpt now that I kind of like look at it on the body. I actually think it's okay. Ugh. I'm gonna get a slightly better shot of the scar there if we focus. Yeah, it's not horrible. I don't think it looks like the actor, which is fine. But, yeah, looks like a guy with a scar on his eye. But I don't think it necessarily looks like... there we go. I don't think it necessarily looks like the triplets that played Tray of Triforia. But that's okay. There we go. There's a snap on the helmet. You can hear that. Okay. Other accessories. We have closed fist hands. So he comes with 2 holdy hands, pistol holdy hands, and 2 fists. And of course, the Zeo Gold staff. This is the like fully weaponized, activated version. It's opened up on the end here and extended. Pretty solid molding detail on the silver there. Mine does have, and I may fix this, I may not, has a little red dot there on the gold. And I'm not sure if that was meant to be here, because none of the photos that I've seen, it doesn't show a red dot on like where the lights would be on the toy. But there's just a little blot of red paint right there. A little disappointing, not terrible. You just turn it around and boom, you can't even tell. Look at that. Pretty neat. Yeah, so I dig this. It does have like, it's solid plastic. It's got some heft to it. And then he also has this lightning effect that like wraps around this some way like that, or up further. It doesn't really like click on anything. It's very like gummy worm like consistency. I don't know if there's meant to be a better way to do this. I'm like kind of looking at the package, and it doesn't really look like there's a specific way to do it. It just kind of like sits on there. I mean, it looks pretty neat. I'm sure it'll look good in poses. I'll probably use it maybe. I have some of the other blast effects that I'm using on figures, so maybe I'll use this one. I don't know. But it's just like I mean, it stretches all the way out, flattens all the way out. You could probably like wrap this around a bad guy, or a good guy, I guess, to look like an attack. Maybe. Make it look like he's going Super Saiyan. You can, kinda. There you go, some playability there, guys. And, of course, holdy hands. It's probably not going to like this a ton, because it's not a blaster, and this is a blaster holdy hand because of the trigger. I think I've described this in other videos of these guys. I'm going to snap this hand out of the wrist. I think I've described this process before in other videos of these guys, but if you're having trouble getting the hand to grip a weapon like this, you can put the hand in hot water for a little bit, and it will loosen the plastic. You don't want to put it not in boiling water, just warm water, like warm tap water out of the sink. If you do boiling, you might melt the plastic a little bit and like drastically warp it beyond recognition, and you don't want to do that because you probably won't be able to fix it. But there we go. Not bad at all. And kind of, you can hold it up in drawing lightning or powers, or summoning Pyramidas. Pyramidas, one of the best Megazords to ever exist. Just a giant walking pyramid. Absolutely killer. As an art historian myself, that's one of the best. One of the best you can do. You can't really beat a giant walking pyramid robot man that houses a bunch of mythological beast robots. Very cool. Yeah, I really dig this figure. Lot of posability potential. It's going to look great on the shelf with the other figures, I think, I hope. Definitely, you know, a little harder to pose and a little clunkier because of the shield. But I mean, that's probably true for all the Tommy figures too. I just don't have any of those. Probably true for the, like, A-Squad figures. Yeah, so you can get some sick poses out of there. One thing I wanted to mention in this review, just because I've talked about it ever so slightly in my other reviews, because of the way I have these guys displayed, I have them sitting up on a shelf that you guys may have seen in my collection walkthrough video. I have them sitting up. Bleh, I have them sitting up on a shelf, and they tend to just fall right on over anytime I'm doing literally anything. So one of the things that I did recently, as I have had my collection of Zeo Rangers up on the shelf, and Lightning Collection figures in general, because I have a handful now, one of the things that I've been struggling with displaying these guys on the shelf is that they want to topple over all the time. Their, weight distribution on figures like this is finicky at best. Sometimes, they don't have, like, exaggerated proportions, so their feet are not, like, a little bit larger. All of their joints are kind of gummy. Like, they'll kind of give a little bit of flex all the time. So it's kind of a little tricky to say, like, yes, like, he's going to stay like this the whole time. Because I'm going to put this guy on a shelf, and the, like, temperature in the room is going to change. The temperature outside the room is going to change. The shelf is on an exterior-facing wall. So, all sorts of potential problems that could make this guy not want to stand right anymore. So I went over to Amazon, and there is a seller on Amazon, I'm going to pull up the name right now, called Figures Lab. They're probably on eBay and all sorts of other places, but I found them on Amazon, and they're selling these little Lightning Collection, Star Wars Black Series, and Marvel Legends series compatible little stands, little foot pads that have the little whatever 2mm size peg, I think it is, that just fits into the bottom of the feet. And I got like 30 of them or more. So on most of my Lightning Collection figures, I put one on either foot, and it just gives them that much more surface area to stand with. And they actually sent me an extra one, which will be the one that I'm using for Zeo Gold. They sent me an extra one, which is another one that they sell that just has 2 foot pads and a little plain black stand. None of these are branded. They don't have, character names on them. They just say, like, Action Figure Stand Base Figures Lab. So they're crazy simple little plastic stands. But, if you want to do crazy poses, you can get a handful of these single foot ones and, like, pose them around. That's what I've done with my Lightning Collection figures. And then for, like I said, for Zeo Black, he is just going to, Zeo Black, Zeo Gold, he is just going to be here like this. And there we go. I think that looks pretty solid, honestly. And, yeah, this is how he's going to be displayed on my shelf, I think. I do need to rotate. I need to rotate that around because you can see the weird and wonky red dot coming through. But there we go. That is Lightning Collection Power Rangers Zeo Gold Ranger. As I've said with all of these Lightning Collection figures, Zeo is one of my favorite seasons. Zeo and In Space are the 2 favorite seasons of mine from the Saban Zordon era. And, yeah, reviewing and rewatching Zeo with TJ has been just killer time, tons of fun. Can't wait to get back to it from hiatus and, dive even deeper and eventually, obviously, get to the Zeo Rangers saga. We've just watched Billy officially depart from the franchise. It was a real tearjerker. I think that's episode 10, Graduation Blues. And yeah, cannot wait to get to this guy. Wasn't a huge fan of Trey Triforia as a character, but was really fun when they brought Jason back. Seeing him back in the saddle, as it were, was really fun. So, yeah, do you guys have a favorite Ranger from the Zeo team, or a favorite villain, or anything like that from the Zeo season? Leave that down in the comments. As always, I've been Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and the Stronger Than Before Zeo Rewatch podcast. If you want to find me, you can check out projectlouder.net, where all our podcasts are casted, and where all sorts of other shows pop up, and blogs and vlogs and everything else under the sun. And if you would like to follow us, you can follow us here on YouTube. Obviously, hit like, hit subscribe, all that jazz. You can also check out Beetle Bros at Beetle Bros Pod on Twitter, and Big Bad Beetle Bros on Instagram and Facebook. And if you would like to check out Stronger Than Before, it is Stronger Than Before Podcast at Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, if you want to check out any Godpunk stuff, because I have some stuff coming up, may or may not be out by the time this gets posted. I'm horrible at scheduling. I'm sorry, guys. Most consistent thing in my life right now is every Saturday I've got one of these videos coming out on here. So be thankful for what we're all getting. But there's some Godpunk stuff going to be coming out here soon at Official Godpunk on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. May also throw some stuff up on Twitch for a live stream here soon. I will be going on a road trip shortly after this video debuts at the end of July with the Beetle Bros and our friends and significant others. So that will be a really fun time. But until next time, I've been Cam, and thank you guys so much.